Welcome to LFC Transfer Hub. Arne Slot Press Conference, PSG v Liverpool preview and the need to show a reaction. Slot spoke at Parc des Princes soon after arriving in France ahead of Wednesday night's game, which is a repeat of last season's round of 16 first leg that the Reds won 1-0, thanks in no small part to an incredible performance from Alisson Becker. On the team's effort throughout the defeat at Manchester City on Saturday. Sometimes in a game of football, you want to do things in a certain way but you're not able to for various reasons, but one of them can definitely be conceding goals when you think you're playing well and in the game. Usually in football, moments that hurt you most are just before halftime and just after. So you go in at halftime, for large spells of the game feeling you went toe-to-toe with City, but then you are 2-0 down. Then immediately after halftime you concede the 3-0, then 5 minutes in between, and we had two big chances from Mo Salah. By the way, where it was too open, players were struggling. The good thing for us was that after the 4-0, City seemed to be okay with the 4-0 and we had the ball and constant ball possession but were not able to create that much anymore. I didn't see players giving up in that part of the game, but I think it is also good from captain that he has a strong and firm reaction after a game like that, and hopefully it's not only immediately after the game but we can, as a team, show a strong and firm reaction tomorrow evening. On what gives him confidence Liverpool can show a reaction? That's a very simple answer, the first 35 minutes. Because it's not the first setback we've had losing 4-0, it's not the first time there are 10, 15 or 20 minutes of a game where we don't play our best football and we immediately get punished by a goal. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's two, and in this situation there were four, the only four chances we gave away in the game, by the way. The first 35 minutes gives me a lot of confidence that we are able to go toe-to-toe against a team that, combined with Paris Saint-Germain, is for me one of the best or the best two teams in open play. The hardest teams to play against in open play because of their quality and because of the way they are managed. We were able to do very well for 35 minutes, but I can tell you the 20 minutes we had at City, if we have them tomorrow evening here, we will again concede 4 goals because these players over here know how to act if we have a 20 minutes of that. So, it's a challenge for us to be from the first until the last second at the level we were in the first 35 minutes. If not, it is going to be a really hard night again like it was last year where we completely deserved to lose 4-0 over here or maybe more. But that's the beauty of football. In the 85th minute we scored a goal where it was almost like, this was robbery. On speaking to the players in the days after the City defeat. Of course we talked to the players in meetings but also individually. I think it makes complete sense and it is completely normal the feeling Virgil van Dijk shared after the game. That is the feeling every player had, and not only every player but every staff member and every fan and supporter of Liverpool as well. Everyone involved in Liverpool Football Club was disappointed after that result. That takes 1 or 2 days before you look forward, look ahead to the next game, but before you do that you first address what we have to improve, and that's quite obvious. I think everyone can see that. If you only look at those 20 minutes, you can see a lot of things that we can improve. We cannot compare Paris Saint-Germain with City completely, because when we had the control and ball possession in the first 35 minutes, that also had to do with City staying more positional, not going so aggressive towards us. Whereas Paris Saint-Germain have shown in the last seasons since Luis Enrique is here that they don't give you any second of time to have the ball comfortably at your feet. It is press every second of the game. On how the team can harness the negativity and turn it into something positive. The good thing is that during this year we have become quite experienced in terms of negativity because of all the setbacks we've had this season. This was a big one because it was the quarterfinal, because it was a big loss, because it was against our rivals. But for me it felt just as bad when we were 3-2 up at Leeds and we conceded in extra time, and when we were going 2-1 up against Fulham and we conceded in extra time. If I start to name all the setbacks we had this season, I see other people want to ask questions in this press conference, then it's probably not possible to list them all. On the level of pressure on Liverpool to perform well in this tie given the contrast in their current fortunes compared to when the clubs met in the round of 16 last season. You're right, we were in the League Cup still after we lost against Paris Saint-Germain and 3 days later we lost the final. I think, if you play a quarterfinal it doesn't matter that much where you are in the season, if you're still in the FA Cup, League Cup or where you are in your domestic league, it's always a special moment. We can never take a quarterfinal of the Champions League for granted, let alone if you face the champions of Europe that fully deserved to win the Champions League last season and again this season are doing very very well. So I don't look at that much of where we are in the season. I just look at the challenge itself, and a nice one, because in football it's sometimes also nice to get a second chance. In life and in general, it's nice to get a second chance. And as I said, Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain are quite comparable, because of the quality they are having and the style of play they want to have, or they have. So, it's another chance for us to show that we are not the team that we were during the 20 minutes that we prefer to forget in the Etihad, but we were the team in the first 35 minutes. On whether it is important there is a favorite in the tie. In general, I don't think it matters that much if there was a favorite, yes or no, because it's only about 2 games and a lot can happen in 2 games. I think both teams have very good players. Both teams were able to show last season to go toe-to-toe. By the way, we deserved to lose here last season 4-0 completely, and much more than we deserved to lose on Saturday 4-0. But that game, it was only thanks to Alisson that we didn't lose 4-0, and then we got away with a 1-0 win. At Anfield, for me, it wasn't completely the opposite. It wasn't as if we deserved to win that game with 4-0, but for me, we deserved to win that game. But the big difference between these two teams is that Paris Saint-Germain kept the whole group together, and I think our team will look not completely, but will look quite different to the team that was here last season. On whether winning this tie would give Liverpool a comparable boost to the one PSG got by beating the Reds en route to lifting the trophy last season. Well, I don't think so far ahead, especially if you face Paris Saint-Germain. So like I said, the champions of Europe fully deserved, and this season kept the team together. As it proves out in football, usually the longer teams play together, the better they become, if that was even possible, because they were so impressive last season. But I have watched quite a lot of games of them, and they are just as impressive, maybe even more impressive this season. There's even more rotations, and they are still a very good team. But as it is in football, details can decide a lot, because who takes penalties best? That is what made the difference last season for Paris Saint-Germain to beat us and then go all the way to win the final, and usually a team needs to win a penalty shootout to win a trophy. It's the same in the World Cup or in the Champions League, and as much as I wanted to believe that there is no luck involved in the penalty shootouts, because you can train it, you can prepare it, you can do a lot of things for it. Sometimes maybe this has to do also a little bit of luck with the goalkeeper, because Gianluigi Donnarumma was great. But I'm not looking so far ahead. It is first this task tomorrow evening, and then on Saturday there's a big game in our stadium against Fulham, and then the next one against Paris Saint-Germain. And for the ones who don't know, then there is another big game playing away from home against Everton. On how he sees a way out of Liverpool's run of form. I cannot debate that. It's completely true that performances and results have been very inconsistent throughout the whole season. I think the answer lies in the history of Liverpool. This club has always shown that in tough moments they stand up again. I think we've had a lot of tough moments and we've stood up a few times but then fallen down again. Now we have to show that mentality again, of just keep going up and picking ourselves up after a disappointment, because this club has shown also many times that we can do very special things in difficult circumstances. Especially if we can bring this game to Anfield, as we saw last season, as we've seen so many times. A recent example was the Galatasaray games, where we didn't have our best game away at Galatasaray, and we played probably the best game of the season at home against Galatasaray. The answer is already in the history of Liverpool, but it is easier said than done, because we've shown far too many times this season that we have phases in the game, like the 20 minutes at the Etihad. Usually it's only 5 to 10, that's why we usually only conceded 1 or a maximum of 2 goals, but 20 minutes means it's 4 goals conceded. Like I said, easier said than done, but this group has shown many times to come back after setbacks, and this club has even done it many more times. So, apart from the quality my team has, and by the way, Paris Saint-Germain has a bit of quality as well, they have shown many times in big games, with the exception of twice at the Etihad, that we are able to compete with the best teams in Europe. Now it is up to us to show the team that we've been, and I can name Real Madrid at home and these games.